Today we will learn the very important topic, that is silent estrus in domestic animal. So this is one of the major constraints to utilize the domestic animal, especially the buffalo. Buffalo is a very good animal for meat, milk and draught purposes. But one of the major constraints to utilize this animal fully is the silent estrus and anestrus. So what is silent estrus? Silent estrus, it is the poor expiration of estrus. The sign of estrus is not very significant. The farmers cannot able to identify the animal who is in estrus. And when the farmers fail to identify the animal, estrus animal, they fail to breed the animal or do the artificial insemination. So when the farmers fail to do the artificial insemination or the breeding at proper time, there is high chances of failure of conception. When there is failure of conception, the pregnancy may not occur, there will not be pregnancy, the animal may not get the newborn, and the milk production affected, the growth of the farms will be affected. So silent estrus really is a major concern in animal production system, especially when we talk about the buffalo. It is very common in buffalo. And also silent ovulation. If there is ovulation and farmers or anyone fail to breed that animal, then there is very high chances of failure in conception, because the life span of oocyte is very limited. If we not do the artificial insemination or the breeding at proper timing, then there is high chances of failure in conception. So let us see about the physiology or the hormonal interplay or the endocrinology, basic endocrinology of the silent estrus in domestic animals. So these three tissue, hypothalamus, pituitary, ovary, commonly known as hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis. This axis play a very important role for the reproductive performance in animal. And coordination of these three tissue are very important. Hypothalamus command and pituitary have to respond, and when pituitary command the ovary and ovary have to respond the pituitary. And when these three tissue interplay or coordinate properly, the reproductive performance of the animal is much better. So let us see about the hypothalamus. We know that hypothalamus release the releasing factor. Here in case of reproduction, GnRH, gonadotrophin releasing hormone, and in response to that, pituitary release the follicle stimulating hormone. It act upon the follicle for the growth and development of the follicle. And pituitary also release the LH, luteinizing hormone. It causes luteinization and responsible for the growth and development of corpus luteum. So in response to the FSH, the follicle grow and the granulosa cell secrete the estradiol. In response to the FSH, as the follicle grows, estradiol level also grows. And after ovulation, the leftover structure in the ovary, it will luteinized by the luteinizing hormone and form the corpus luteum, and corpus luteum is responsible for the secretion of progesterone. And one more hormone I want to discuss here, inhibin. It is secreted from granulosa cells, and it is also involved for controlling involved for influencing the FSH level. So the level and concentration of this hormone play a very important role for the behavioral expression of estrus in domestic animal. So here I have categorized into two sections, secretion and the concentration. They are both related. When the factors affecting the secretion of GnRH, FSH, LH, definitely the concentration of estradiol progesterone are affected. So let us see the endocrinology, the very basic endocrinology of silent estrus in cattle and buffalo. What are the factors that affect the secretion? One of the major factors is the nutrition. Nutrition influences the GnRH release, pulsatile release of GnRH. If there is poor nutrition, if there is a lack of some nutrient, if there is not sufficient supply of mineral, vitamin, trace mineral, microminerals, macrominerals, or so many factors when we talk about the nutrition, even balanced nutrition. If there is not proper nutrition, GnRH secretion may be affected. When it is affected, FSH and LH also affected. When FSH and LH affected, definitely the growth of the follicle will be affected and estradiol level will decrease when there is very poor nutrition. So when the estradiol level increases, definitely it impacts the behavioral expression of the estrus. Another factor is heat stress. This is one of the major concern globally. Under heat stress, the animal release ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. It acts upon the adrenal gland and cause secretion of cortisol, that is stress hormone. ACTH also act upon or prevent the gonadotropes for the release of FSH. And when this FSH and LH is affected, definitely the estradiol level also affected. ACTH impact or indirectly influence or the prevent optimum growth of the follicle. So when there is not optimum growth of the follicle, definitely the estradiol level also affected and it will decrease estradiol level. Another important one, the managemental factors, managemental system in the farm, the housing system and the space provided to the animal and the plantation around the farm, or what are the managemental strategies during the summer season or other stressful conditions, how it is managing, what about the feeding procedures or nutrition, how the farm is managing by the farmers. So that is also impact the health of the animal or the secretion of the GnRH. And when GnRH secretion is affected, definitely the FSH and LH also affected. When this hormones level decreases, follicular growth also impacted. When the follicular growth is impacted, estradiol level decreases. So there I want to discuss here two more factors. Inhibin. This is the hormone secreted from the granulosa cell. And this hormone found to be increased during the summer season or under heat stress, and this inhibin prevent the release of FSH and indirectly it impact the concentration or the follicular growth, concentration of estradiol or the follicular growth. Another is very important, that growth and development of the corpus luteum, how it is influenced for the behavioral expression of the estrus, behavioral expression, sexual expression of cattle and buffalo, we will discuss in next slide. So development, growth and development of the corpus luteum, if it is not proper, the progesterone level also decreases. The progesterone level also influenced by the corpus luteum growth and development. So progesterone level is directly proportional to the growth and development of the corpus luteum. So let us see how this hormone play a very important role for the expression of the estrus. So estradiol and the progesterone. Here we have to remember that not only estradiol but the progesterone also required for the expression of estrus. So these two hormones work synergistically and are responsible. They act synergistically inside the animal and animal express behaviorally their sexual desire, and that is we call it expression of estrus. So let us see in the cyclic animal, so how the estradiol and the progesterone level influence or concentration differs. So we know that in cyclic animal, if the animal is not pregnant, so the animal will come to estrus every 21 to 22 days interval. So overt estrus means overt estrus animal means the animal who show the sign of estrus very clearly, and farmers able to identify that animal and can able to do the breeding at proper timing. So let us see their level. So this is the estradiol level during the estrus or the proestrus time, where the follicular growth is the peak. The estradiol level is significantly high, and after ovulation the estradiol level goes down, and we can see some slight peak of estradiol level. These are because of the follicular wave. After ovulation, when the progesterone level is predominant, there may be some follicular development, but this follicle failed to ovulate because progesterone is dominant during this phase. Corpus luteum is present in the ovary. So there may be found some follicular wave or some growth of the follicle. And then again, next estrus, the estradiol level increases, because during this time progesterone level goes down and the follicular development occur, or it will reach to the peak and estradiol level increases. And again the same cycle will repeat if the animal is not pregnant in cyclic animal. Let us see the progesterone level. See, as the progesterone level goes down, and when after ovulation, when there is growth and development of the corpus luteum, the progesterone level significantly increases. So if the corpus luteum growth and development is not sufficient, the progesterone level maybe it will not reach to this level. So in case of overt animal, let us assume that the development of the corpus luteum is sufficient and the progesterone level is reached very high, and during this period it will maintain the progesterone level, high level of progesterone is become predominant. And if the animal is not pregnant, the uterus release prostaglandin F2 alpha, it act upon the ovary and destroy the corpus luteum. As soon as corpus luteum is destroyed, progesterone level goes down and estradiol level goes up. Here we have to see that the level of estradiol and the progesterone both are required for the expression of estrus. So the level of progesterone and the estradiol both are required for the expression of estrus. If the progesterone level goes below the required amount, below the required level, expression of estrus may be affected. Not only estrogen, here progesterone also responsible for the expression of estrus. So let us see in case of silent estrus animal, then it will be very clear to us. When we compare with the overt estrus animal who show the sign of estrus very clearly, when we compare with the silent estrus, let us see the level of estradiol and the progesterone. This is the estradiol level. See, their level of estradiol is below the overt estrus animal. And let us see the progesterone level. This progesterone level also below the overt estrus animal. So when the estradiol and the progesterone level remain below as compared to the overt estrus, or their concentration below the required amount, there may be high chances of silent estrus. So here in case of silent estrus, the estradiol and the progesterone level is below the required amount. So it will impact the behavioral expression of estrus. During the summer season, the estradiol and the progesterone level goes down, and therefore the incidence of silent estrus is more. Even some animal, buffalo, may undergo anestrus condition, no estrus, even no estrus. So that will be a very difficult condition for the farmers for the economic growth of the animal. So what are the necessary steps is depend in the previous slides we talked about some of the factors: nutrition, heat stress, and the managemental system. So if the animal is fed properly during the summer season, they may show the sign of estrus during the night hour, short period of estrus, but they may show the sign of estrus. But the animal is underfed during the summer season, when there is already a heat estrus, the animal may undergo anestrus, or there may not be any sign of estrus. So yes, the farmers are facing problem in the buffalo, that their incidence of silent estrus is more during the summer season. So these are the two hormones are important for the expression of the estrus. So we have talked about here regarding the estradiol level, and the follicular development also influenced by the FSH, LH and GnRH. GnRH secretion also affected by the nutrition, heat stress and other factors also. If the secretion level is affected, definitely the concentration of estradiol is affected. And not only estradiol, we need progesterone also. So if the follicular development is not there, if the follicular development is not proper, then the same structure after ovulation, it will form the corpus luteum after luteinization. So it has been seen that if the follicular development is not optimum, corpus luteum development also may not be optimum. When corpus luteum is development is compromised, progesterone level also decreases. And one important hormone, that is inhibin. Inhibin directly prevent the release of FSH from the pituitary. And during the summer season or the heat stress, under heat stress, inhibin concentration increases. So these all factors, these three hormones I have mentioned here, are responsible for the silent estrus. Okay, thank you.